Testing. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining me for the launch of Supporting Grassroots Out. I started a petition over 9 months ago with just one signature, and 13,500 later, it grew into a sensation, and the nation started to take notice. And eventually, it actually got UKIP a fair opportunity. But that's in the past. We are now focusing on a European referendum. Yesterday, they announced that on the 23rd of June, after renegotiating with the European Union and its member states, that the UK would vote on whether to stay in the European Union or leave. This is the live launch of Supporting Grassroots Out Go. We will be beginning the live broadcast. Stay tuned, because at 5 o'clock, it's all going to kick off. Hello and welcome. If you are listening to this, you are joining me for the live launch Grassroots Out. We are supporting Grassroots Out, the campaign to get the UK out of the European Union. Hello and welcome. If you are listening, this is the UK out of the European Union. It is the Supporting Grassroots Out Go campaign. I am supporting Go, Grassroots Out, to be the leading campaigner in getting out of the European Union. Join me at 5 o'clock for the live launch here on YouTube of Supporting Grassroots Out. We are supporting the Go campaign to get Britain out of the European Union. This is the live launch of Supporting Grassroots Out Go. We are supporting the campaign Grassroots Out to get the UK out of the European Union. Join the clock. Talking live. We are going to be discussing live, and more importantly, you can get involved by contacting me on Twitter. Contact me on Twitter right now
for the 5 o'clock launch supporting Grassroots Sounds. At the moment, we are just testing the sound. This is just testing the sound to make sure everything is ready for the 5 o'clock launch. So if you are here waiting for the launch, then thank you very much for coming along. You might hear my voice a couple of times before we hit the 5 o'clock time frame, in which we are going to be talking for a whole hour, possibly even more. There's no particular time limit on this live broadcast, but potentially at least for an hour, we are going to be talking about all things European referendum. And of course, I am in favour of leaving the European Union. That is why this broadcast is all about supporting Grassroots Sounds, the campaign to get Britain out of the European Union. If you are just tuning in, don't go anywhere, because this is the live launch of Grassroots Out. We are going live right now, right here. This is the live launch of supporting Grassroots Out. Yesterday, David Cameron made a promise that he would, sorry, I say made a promise. Over 3 years ago, David Cameron made a promise that he would try to renegotiate Britain's deal with the European Union. And now on this live launch of supporting grassroots to get the European Union to get the UK out of the European Union, on this live launch, we are going to be talking about it. We are going to be discussing it, and more importantly, this is your opportunity to take part in this live launch. The email's just gone out, the viewer count is going up. Stay with me, because this is the live launch. This is the live launch of supporting Grassroots Out. Now, we are officially launching at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, we are officially launching the campaign. This is going to be an audio campaign to begin with. This is going to be an audio video, and the viewer count is going up. We've got 13,500 emails that have been sent out to all of you. This has been something that's been in the pipeline for quite a while, and I can honestly tell you it's great to have you coming back in the room, because 10 months ago I started a petition, a Christian Time special episode, and since then I've tried to create a website, I've tried other things, but then it's taken me a while to realize really what is important, what can we do, and the most important thing is ensuring that as many people possible know from the grassroots up just why leaving the European Union is a here. We are going to be starting the live launch at 5 o'clock. At the moment, we've got 20 viewers in the room. Hopefully this is going to go up. I'm going to open up the chat as well. Just give me a moment to do that. And I hope you can hear me okay as well. As I said, the count is going up. There are more and more viewers coming in. It'd be great if we could get 1,000 viewers out of the 14,000 emails that have gone out. But nonetheless, we're going to start at the beginning, and hopefully this is going to continue to build. This is going to be a weekly event. Every week we are going to be talking about why the European Union should leave, the United Kingdom should leave the European Union. Now, why am I supporting Grassroots Out? Well, Grassroots Out is the campaign that has been launched by Nigel Farage, it's been launched by Liam Fox, Kate Hoey, to name a few, in order to, it's a cross-party campaign to get the United Kingdom out of the European Union. It's a cross-party campaign, and that's why I'm supporting it. That's why I'm not setting up my own campaign. This isn't a campaign. This is supporting a campaign, and this is exactly what this YouTube video is all about. And of course, what the future live broadcasts are also going to be about as well. So pay attention to that. But what I've noticed that a few of you have already subscribed. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome, but I will continue to update you via the change.org website every time these broadcasts go out. But to begin with, if you can talk in the room, let me know. I mean, if you're able to type, you're more than welcome to, because this is all about you. This can only work with you. So if you're able to chat, if you're able to use the group chat by now, because we have got 9 minutes until the live launch of the supporting Grassroots Out video. So bear with me for a little bit, because we are going to be properly starting at around 5 o'clock. And as I said, I encourage you, this is all about you, nobody else. It's all about you and what you think about the European Union. I've noticed this as well, as you've the sound coming off of my computer. A few of you are subscribing. A lot of you are joining and keeping up to date. And if you do that, you will be able to remain up to date with what's going on. Every time there is one of these live broadcasts, you will be in the know. So just bear that one in mind. But what we're going to be talking about, let's go through that first, because I think important. We're going to be talking about Boris Johnson first of all, because Boris Johnson is believed to announce today that he is supporting a British exit from the European Union. That's the first thing we're going to be talking about. But then we're going to be talking about why the UK needs to leave the European Union. After all, that's why we're here. That's why this broadcast is live right now. We're telling you why we are better off out. Just why are we? Why are we better off leaving the European Union? Think of that question now, because that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, I've noticed there are more and more of you coming in the room. This is absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much. Welcome to all the viewers that we've got here at the moment. It's absolutely great to have you here. We're starting the live launch at 5 o'clock. So if you are getting a little bit bored of me repeating myself, then you're more than welcome to leave the room and come back. But if you want to be here when it starts, if you want to be here at the very beginning, then stay for another 7 minutes, because I tell you what, if this is going to be as good as I think it, really exciting. Okay, this is going to be something that I feel can continue to grow week on week, day on day, leading up to the European referendum. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get my Twitter page up. I'm just going to get it up now, just so then we're ready, because of course we're not, although we're live, we're not technically live right now, although that's a little bit unhelpful, isn't it? Because we are live. I'm speaking live right now. Everything I say, it's quite scary, really, to think that everything I say is being heard by everyone in the room, by the whole world even. It's quite tantalizing, I suppose you could say. But anyway, send me a tweet on Twitter. Send me a tweet on Twitter right now at Bill_predict. Send me a tweet. Let me know what you think about the European referendum. That's at Bill_predict. What do you think? Do you think the UK should leave the European Union? I mean, you could be a pro-European if you aren't, but I'm gathering by the title of this video that it's going to be mostly Eurosceptics like myself. And you know what? I like that. But if you're here to perhaps hear the argument, in fact, if you're in the middle, if you don't quite know where to go, send me a tweet. Or even more to the point, let me know what you think about the European Union. If you think the European Union is a load of nonsense, then let me know. This is all about you. It's not about me. It's not about the politicians. It's about you. You listening to this video right now. It's all about you. So take part in it, because this is what the debate's going to be all about. This is how we're going to talk about things. This is where the conversation is going to head. If you don't communicate, if you don't tweet, there's going to be no conversation. Because although I'm talking to myself, I mean, I can't hear you. I'm sure you're probably agreeing with me and nodding your head and saying yes, which I appreciate, by the way. Thank you very much for coming along, by the way, and thank you very much to the new viewers that are coming in the room. However, what isn't going on is physical voice conversation. So Twitter replaces that. So send me a tweet. Those of you coming in the room now, send me a tweet at Bill_predict. That's all you've got to do. Send me a tweet. Let me know what you think. Do you think the European Union is a waste of time? Do you think we should leave? And more to the point, what is your views on the European Union? Because we all have different views. That's what I'm also going to be talking about. I might be a Eurosceptic, and all of you in the room might also be Eurosceptic. However, my views on why I'm Eurosceptic might be slightly different to your views. You might believe that immigration is a problem. I might simply believe that ever closer union is the issue, and that should be changed or reformed. I'm Eurosceptic. So let me know what you think. Are you that type of Eurosceptic? Do you have an obscure view? Or are you one of those people that holds the general view? The general view of Eurosceptic. And what is the general view of Eurosceptic? Comes to think of it, is there a typical image of a Eurosceptic? I think a lot of us have the idea that Eurosceptics are middle-aged men in their wearing posh suits and fancy ties, when in actual fact it's the complete opposite, because I don't wear a posh suit or a fancy tie, and I'm a Eurosceptic. So what do you think? Do you think the European Union is a waste of time? And more to the point, do you think that Eurosceptics are just old middle-aged men in fancy costumes and ties? Or do you think there's more to it? What do you think? Let me know. Send me a tweet at Bill_predict. It's great to see you in the room. We've had a little bit of a reduction in viewer count, but nevertheless, it's remaining very steady. We've got a nice big increase coming on here because, of course, the launch is at 5 o'clock. We are going to be starting this conversation at 5 o'clock. So, of course, at the moment, there's not really a lot to talk about because I want to save all the juicy stuff for 5 o'clock. But we've only got another 2 minutes. another 2 minutes, and we are going to be starting the Grassroots Out, supporting Grassroots Out campaign. For those of you that don't know, Grassroots Out is a cross-party campaign supported by, as you guessed it, lots of different politicians across a whole different range of political spectrums, from UKIP to the Conservatives, the Green Party, and even Labour. Let me know. What do you think? Do you think it's a great thing? I think it is a great thing. Grassroots Out is the best campaign I feel there is. That's not me being biased. That's me saying honestly what I think. Because I think if we are going to leave the European Union, we can't touch the political establishment, Westminster. Because at the end of the day, the 6 MPs in Westminster aren't going to be the ones that decide whether we leave the European Union. It's the electorate of 45 million people that are going to decide whether we stay in or whether we stay out. Personally, I think we should leave the European Union. But let me know what you think. Send me a tweet at Bill_predict. It'd be interesting to see what you know. We are going to be starting the live Supporting Grassroots Out Go campaign talk very shortly. It's coming up to 5 o'clock. So watch out for the launch of Grassroots Out, Supporting Grassroots Out. I'm mucking up my words now. You can blame the excitement. I've been anticipating this for quite a while. We're going to be starting very shortly. Welcome to the new viewers in the room. The viewer count is going up. The viewer count is going up and up and up. It is absolutely incredible. This is the launch of Supporting Grassroots Out Go on YouTube.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
So in just a moment, we are going to be beginning the live talk on Grassroots Out. It's coming up to 5 o'clock. We are going to be talking about the European Union, Grassroots Out. What do you think about the European Union? Send me a tweet. It's great to see so many viewers in the room. We are going to be starting the talk very, very soon. Stay with me. We've got lots of viewers, lots and lots of viewers. We're going to be talking about Boris Johnson joining the campaign and all the other people as well. Michael Gove, Theresa Villiers, Ian Duncan Smith, etc., etc. Chris Graydon, to name but a few. Thank you very much, Carl, for your tweet. I'll read that out very shortly. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much for your comments as well on the live feed. Jenny Buckley, Carl Wigan, Ashley Ellis. Thank you very much indeed, everybody. And that's it. We are live. We are live. This is Grassroots Out, supporting Grassroots Out, the Go campaign. What exactly is Grassroots Out? I'm just going to introduce that to you. Thank you very much for everybody coming into the room of my campaign to support Go, supporting Grassroots Out. Grassroots Out is, as you guessed it, it is a campaign to leave the European Union. And it's at the grassroots. It is for the people. It's not for Westminster. It is not for the political establishment. It might involve politicians from the establishment, but it is a grassroots up campaign which involves you, the people. And that's why I am supporting the campaign for Grassroots Out. You can search for Grassroots Out via your search engine, if that's what you want to do. If you are interested in finding out more about Grassroots Out, then just type into your search engine. As you're listening to this right now, even, you might be listening to this as you're doing the painting, the decorating, the cooking. You might just be sat on the sofa reading the paper. It's completely up to you how you view this. But Grassroots Out is the campaign to leave the European Union. And if you want to know more about it, go to www.grassrootsout.co.uk. Okay, if you want to know more about it, go to www.grassrootsout.co.uk. But we're going to talk about the very first item on the agenda, and that's all about Boris Johnson. By the way, it's great to have all the live comments. I've only just got a chance to read them, so we're going to go through those now, and then we're going to go straight to talking about Boris Johnson. I was going to say straight to Boris Johnson. Hopefully, maybe in a month or so, we've got 1,000 viewers. Maybe Boris Johnson will agree to come on air. Who knows? But anyway, it's very exciting what's going on with Boris Johnson. I'm certainly very excited anyway. Jamie Buckley says, we should leave the European Union ASAP. We need to look after our own and not Europe. Very interesting point there, Jamie. Carl Wigan says, let's leave the European Union as there is no reason to stay. Ashley Ellis says, Grassroots Out needs to start sending out leaflets so we can deliver them. I have tried signing up loads of times and no response. Very interesting, Ashley. Well, hopefully, if anyone from Grassroots Out is listening, perhaps they will implement that. Obviously, up till about yesterday, nobody was really certain whether the European referendum was going to be held on the 23rd of June or not. We all had quite a high certainty that this was going to be the case. We all believed that, the European referendum would be held on the 23rd of June, but nobody knew for sure. So I think that's probably the reason why Grassroots Out has been quite low on the ground to begin with. Although there's been a lot of momentum, thousands of people have been attending the conferences, I believe that's probably why the leaflets haven't been sent out yet. And that's a good thing because it means that they've got more money to spend at the very peak of the campaign. And we'll be talking more about that in a minute because there's actually allocation for political parties with regards to how much they can spend. And this is quite interesting. And actually, UKIP benefits quite a lot here as well, which is quite a good thing. First past the post isn't kind to UKIP, but I think you will be quite pleased to hear about what I'll be saying in just a moment. Now, of course, this isn't a UKIP talk. This is a European referendum talk because this is all about the grassroots. Anybody, whether you're into politics or not, this is for you, okay? But let's read more of your comments out before we go on to Boris Johnson and the expenditure that the parties are going to have throughout the European referendum. So Ashley Ellis also says there should be a law introduced that any first generation immigrants that come to this country, if they commit any crime, then and there should be their go back to the country of origin. Obviously, dependent on the nature of the crime. If all these economic migrants really want to benefit the UK, they can muck in their 2 pence. Interesting point there, Ashley Ellis. I don't know whether everybody will agree with you, but I think in there somewhere there is a very interesting point, a very good point indeed, Ashley Ellis. I mean, obviously, there are some areas that perhaps I would disagree with, but you know what? That's an interesting point you make, and the points you make about leaflet delivery is absolutely spot on. So thank you very much, Ashley Ellis, for commenting and taking part in the Grassroots Out Live campaign. Carl Wigan continues to say Grassroots Out are hurting the establishment. This is what we want. Thank you very much. You know, your positivity, your support for what I'm doing is really appreciated, and I can see the build up is getting up and up and up. Now that we've been live for 9 minutes now, I can see that there is quite a high consistency of viewers coming in. So stay with me, guys, because this is all about you. This is all about Grassroots Up. This is you and only you. Okay, so if you've got a comment, if you've got a view, take part. I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I agree with you or not. In fact, I'm sure we will agree on most things, but don't be afraid to comment. You're viewing this right now on YouTube, so come on, comment, and I'll read it out live on the air, and take part in the debate as well. If you disagree, I'll be reading it out live on the air. Now, if you want to get involved on Twitter as well, send me a tweet at Bill_predict. At Bill_predict, because I've got quite a few tweets coming in already, and it's absolutely great to see what we've got here. We've got Ike Wallace that's just said, I liked a YouTube video from Bill Predict supporting Grassroots Out Go. Thank you very much for your support, Ike Willis. That's at Young Yum Yum 1967. Love the Twitter handle there. And then we've got Carl Leave EU. Lovely name, Carl Leave EU. I wonder what you believe in. I wonder if you believe in leaving the European Union, Carl. Thank you very much for commenting. You've said if David Cameron had nothing, he would face Nigel Farage, but he won't. So what's he hiding? Hashtag Brexit, hashtag Grassroots Out. Thank you very much indeed, Carl Leave EU. That's Fight for UK. Brilliant hashtag username there. Brilliant username there on Twitter. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Carl. If David Cameron didn't have anything to hide, he would face Nigel Farage head on. There was a reason why he only agreed to do one debate with David Cameron with the other 7 leaders during the May general election, because he knows that Nigel Farage is going to get David Cameron in areas where he doesn't have the answers to. And that's why he is avoiding Nigel Farage, because Nigel Farage has a lot of valid points. And I don't know if the rest of you in this room have perhaps noticed, because of course, if you are supporting a Brexit, an exit from Britain, if you are supporting leaving the European Union, then you've probably followed UKIP. Whether you agree with Nigel Farage or not, you've probably followed him to some extent. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I've certainly noticed that Nigel Farage has turned into a more tame figure. You know, 5 years ago, there was once this figure called Nigel Farage that was quite controversial. You know, if he went for a walkabout in the town, well, you know, he'd have no chance. There'd be absolutely no chance of Nigel Farage being able to walk around town without security having to be left, right, and centre. And although he still needs security, he doesn't need it because the majority of people hate him, which, let's face it, used to be the case. Now, you know, he's on almost every TV programme going, every TV political programme going. Nigel Farage has turned into a popular character over the last few years. And it's quite interesting to see that. It was quite interesting to see Nigel Farage evolve. And that's why David Cameron, going back to what Carl was saying, that's why David Cameron doesn't want to speak to Nigel Farage, doesn't want to face Nigel Farage. Because Nigel Farage knows his onions, you know. He's forgotten more than I know, Nigel Farage has, when it comes to the European Union. Let me know what you think. It's great to see you here. Daniel Butcher and Molly Millar. Daniel says, Cameron secured nothing. The EU will still create our laws, and there will be no changes to the mass immigration into our country. Absolutely correct, Daniel Butcher. Now, a lot of people will find that controversial. A lot of the establishment, okay? A lot of the establishment would class you as being a racist if you said mass immigration into our country is a problem. Well, it's true. Mass immigration is a problem in our country because what we need in this country is integration. And Nigel Farage has mentioned this on numerous occasions. What we need in the UK is integration. And how can migrants integrate if the flow of migrants is so extreme that there is no chance for immigrants to prosper and grow? It is a big problem. It is a big problem in this country, and that's why I think a lot of people want to leave the European Union. And I'd be a liar to say that it wasn't a problem. Of course, it's a massive problem. It's a massive problem, immigration, and we should not issue. And people like Jeremy Corbyn that say that something needs to be done about it, however, then do nothing to target the problem, are precisely the reason why we're in this mess in the first place. So it's not controversial, it's not racist to say that the mass immigration is a problem. And you're absolutely right. What we need to do is we need to wake up and we need to realise that these are problems, amongst other things, you know, amongst the fact that the European Union dictates what we can and can't do, like, for example, not being able to switch on the light or buy a certain light bulb that isn't a certain energy rating, or not being able to purchase a certain Hoover because the energy rating is too high or too low, or not being able to dry our hair because the hairdryer is against EU regulation. I mean, that's just the start of it. Let's dig deeper. You know, if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, search the treaties. Look at what the European Union does to control our daily life. We are not a sovereign country. And you know what? I think it's an insult when people like David Cameron say that it's just a facade, that if we was to leave the European Union, we wouldn't have sovereignty. Well, quite frankly, I really think that's rubbish, because if you ask me, if we leave the European Union, it's like if you leave a controlling relationship. That's exactly what it is, right? We're in a controlled relationship with the European Union. And if we leave that controlling relationship, we're going to be free to do what we want when we want. But unless we leave that, we're never going to be able to control our own laws, because that's what it's all about. Now, I'm going to read out some more comments here, because we're going to go on to Boris Johnson in just a moment. They're coming fast. In fact, it's absolutely great. I'm actually struggling to keep up with them now. So many of you are commenting. Keep them coming in, even if you've already commented. It's all about conversation. It's all about getting the talk going. It's great to have you in here. This is the launch of Supporting Grassroots South. We're going to be here for at least an hour, hopefully a little bit longer. But I'm going to read out some more of your comments, and let's see what we've got here. We've got Ashley Ellis now commenting again. Thank you very much again for your comment, Ashley Ellis. Why do all the papers keep saying Nigel Farage is a loose cannon? He isn't someone who sits in a dark corner. He goes down the pub, quite frankly. To me, he is just a normal, intelligent bloke. Absolutely right, Ashley. You're right. He is an intelligent bloke. You know, I mean, if there's anyone that's going to be able to connect with the people that aren't in the political class, it's going to be Nigel Farage. Because at the end, and equally, let's look at it on the other side as well. I know you'll probably say boo, you know, but not Boris Johnson. Let's look at Alan Johnson. I almost got it right the first time. But let's look at Alan Johnson on the left, who's tipped to lead the campaign to stay in the European Union. I certainly don't agree with him on anything. But you know what? He's an ex-postman. He's working class. And he can connect with the people. And I know some people say that Nigel for a proper job. Well, he has. He used to work in the commodities industry. And he is working class. I know he went to private school, but he won a scholarship. So he is in contact with normal, ordinary, everyday people. So he is the Alan Johnson of the right, when you think about it. Mind you, I'd probably go more to the point and argue that actually Alan Johnson is the Nigel Farage of the left, because I really think Nigel Farage is the one that has created a strong political movement. But anyway, that's going into my own personal views. Let's look at some more comments here. Molly Miller, I love that name, by the way. Nice little flow to that. Interesting to hear different opinions on the subject. Thank you, Molly. And that goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning. although we might agree with the European Union, we might have different views and opinions. For example, Ashley, I think, said just a moment ago, that Nigel Farage is an intelligent bloke. But some people might disagree with that and think that actually John Redman is the one that should be leading the campaign for Out. So I agree with you. It's interesting. It's great to see the different opinions and views, and I hope that you're enjoying this just as much as I am. It's great to see that we've got so many viewers in the room as well. So let's have a little look as well. Carl Wigan again. People who defend immigration never put up. Richard Brett has his own island. How many migrants are on it? Nicola Sturgeon said she'd share her house, but none do. Again, very good comments there. Very, very good points you make there. It's quite interesting, isn't it, that these people believe in an open border system, believe in a dictatorship type country, such as being in the EU. Yet, if Richard Branson has had enough, he can just fly off on his island, can't he? I mean, it's not as if me or you can do that, Carl Wigan. I certainly know I can't. And if I wanted to join him for an hour even on his island, do you know how much it would cost me? £1,000, yeah, £20,000 a night it costs to stay on Necker Island. I mean, Richard Branson is really in touch with the working people, isn't he? I mean, my word, he's got more than £1 billion in the bank. God, you know what? He really is speaking for the ordinary everyday man. I tell you, sarcasm involved there, guys and girls. And then Ashley Ellis continues to say, you understand the importance of community. It's the left that don't. Absolutely. It's all about being part of a free trade deal, but not being part of a controlling European Union. You're absolutely right, Ashley. Let's go to Twitter now as well before we start talking about Boris Johnson and all about Boris Johnson joining the campaign for Leave. James Goad UK Out. That's at Go James. Brilliant username, James, by the way. Thank you very much for commenting and getting involved. The economic reasons for leaving the EU are overwhelming. Secondary to the democratic deficit issue. You're absolutely right. And you know what? I would even say that the democratic issue is even more important than the immigration issue. And I'll tell you why. Because we've not got a problem. I've not got a problem with immigration. I love immigrants. I love immigrants. They're great for our country. But let me give you an example of why I hate control in this country. Because skilled Indian chefs that have so much to offer are restricted from coming to this country. Why? Because they're not in the European Union. And we need more skilled Indian chefs. If you're anybody like me, you love going out and having a curry on a Saturday night. Now, I'm not saying that that's the most important thing that we need in this country is more Indian chefs, but it's a skill and it's a trade that's dying, and we need more to come in. And you know what? There is a lack of supply for Indian chefs due to the fact that because they're not in the EU, they're not able to come over. It's discriminatory. That is exactly the problem. And if we lived within a democratic European Union was controlled fairly and distributed fairly, whereby everyone around the world had a fair chance of coming, then maybe there wouldn't be a problem. Maybe we could stay in the EU. Because I know for a lot of people, minority, but it's all about the democratic reasons, as you say, James, and why I want to leave, because there's no renegotiation. Do you really think Jean-Claude Thingy is really gonna put up and shut up? You know, he probably hates us as it is. He's going to make it hard. If we vote to stay, there's going to be no other option. That's going to be it for a generation. If we vote to leave, there's certainly something better at the end of the tunnel. Anyway, thank you very much for subscribing to my videos. We're going to go on to Boris Johnson now. We've got another tweet from James. Many of those who advocate you are the same persons that proposed the UK join the euro. And again, this is the thing that keeps coming up. Anybody that wants to stay within the EU, more or less, wanted us to join the euro. And what happened then? I mean, look at Greece, for goodness sakes. Having to get on their hands and knees, bailed out by the International Monetary Fund. No, that is the monetary side of the European Union. Look at the rest of it. I mean, I want to wash my hands when I talk about the European Union, because germ that's just growing. That's what I think. It's not the people in the EU. The fact that the EU is just an undemocratic body that has too much power, and we don't have a say over any of it. Looking at more of the tweets, so you understand the importance of commodity markets, Ashley, as you were just saying there. Commodity, by the way, not community. Thank you very much. I didn't catch on to that one, I must admit. Melissa Campbell says, everyone who wants to leave the EU, sign up to go. Leave the European Union, better off out or leave. Volunteer to help. That's what Melissa's saying. You can't preach to the converted. One chance to get out. Let's not blow it. Very good comments indeed. Thanks very much, Melissa. Hi, Billy. Support leaving the EU, but please can Grassroots vote leave and leave.eu work together. From that is self-sabotage that the Remain camp will jump on. And that's quite interesting what you mentioned there, Matthew Hems. And by the way, thank you very much to everyone commenting. The conversation flowing. Without your comments, there can be no conversation. And feel free to get involved. Feel free to reply to Matthew. The comments are coming in thick and fast. I'll read Susie's one out in just a moment. But you're absolutely right, Matthew. What you've got is three sisters, family, other. They should all be able to relate, and they should all be able to come to a mutual agreement. Just like all of us in this room right now might have, and other people might have others. You know, so are different campaigns, so are different you know, grassroots petitions and whatnot. You're absolutely right. We all want the same thing. We all want to leave the European Union. And if I'm honest with you, if I'm honest with all of you in this room, it's a little bit like they're just spitting their dummy out the pram, and it is self-sabotage. You're right, because what they want, what I believe these people want, aside from Grassroots, obviously, that's why I'm supporting them. That's why it's so great to see everybody else is supporting them in this room that have commented. By the way, let me know if you don't believe in Grassroots. Let me know if you think that leave.eu should be the one to lead it. Then let me know. I like a bit of variety. It'd be great to have a debate on it. But go back to what you're absolutely right. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. The last time this was put to the voters was over 40 years ago. You've got to be over 58 to have voted in the referendum last time around. Back then it was known as the common market. And this isn't going to happen for another generation. We need to join together. And that's why I think Grassroots Out is the most suitable and mature campaign source to campaign to leave the European, because Grassroots Out has already expressed that they don't want to have a particular body, a particular head as such. What they just want to do is lead Grassroots Out. So I think it's a mature option to go with them, because if we're being blunt here, what we're looking at is quite childish. You know, it's all about self-gain. I believe that's why, obviously, those that are in leave.eu aren't budging. You know, apparently it's quite an establishment as well. That's what I keep hearing anyway. But thank you very much, Matthew, for your comments. And if anybody else is interested in commenting, let me know. Send me a tweet on Twitter at Bill_predict. It's been great to see your comments. It's been great to see what you're typing. But please do feel free to more. We're going to look at Susie's comments in just a moment. But just to let you know, guys, this is the very first broadcast, so I hope I've been doing okay. Do feel free to leave some feedback. You know, if you think I'm doing a terrible job, then let me know. You're more than welcome to tell me if I'm doing an awful job. But this is the very first broadcast, and what we're going to have after this is more and more. It's just going to continue to get better. Hopefully we're going to have some phone calls as well. I've actually purchased a Skype number, and that Skype number I'm going to be giving out probably in the next show. That will probably be next Sunday. I'm thinking of doing a midweek one. I'm thinking of doing a midweek late night one, just because I know that some people are at church on Sundays, and you know, it's the Sabbath day and whatnot. People that have religious views don't necessarily listen to the radio, so I might do a Wednesday broadcast as well. You know, for those those of you that do go to church and whatnot, because hopefully I'll be doing this in the morning. Hopefully I'll be doing these talks in the morning when everyone's up, when everyone's about. But for now, I'm going to keep it as it is, the 5 o'clock time frame, and we'll have another one on Wednesday. I'm going to carry on for at least another half an hour, though, so don't go anywhere. We will have a break in just a moment. But we are going to talk more about the European Union, and we are going to talk about Boris Johnson before we go to that break. So stick around. It's great to see so many people in the room still. Lots of you have been coming in and out. We've had quite a dip of people, and this is just the beginning. Okay, this is just the start. So I'm hoping it will get bigger and bigger. But looking at the tweets and looking at what other people have said, what Susie said. Well, Susie's saying that the In campaign keeps saying that 3 million jobs in the UK are at risk. If we leave but fail to mention 5 million EU jobs will be at risk if they don't come to a quick trade agreement. Only 9% of outtrade goes to the EU. We're in the driving seat where negotiations are concerned. The EU needs us more than we need them. There is the rest of the world to trade with. Fantastic points there, Susie. And for those of you that were reading that, if you're watching this live, or if you perhaps just got this on another tab looking at Google, let me know what you think. Do you agree with what Susie said there? I do. We are in the driving seat, and a very good expression there, Susie. We buy from them more than we sell to them, so they need us. We're a loyal customer. If you owned a sweet shop, would you chuck your loyal customer out because they left as part of a trade agreement? No, you'd say, come on over, let's create another agreement. I want to trade with you. As somebody was saying on, I believe it was the Andrew Marr show this morning, the day we leave the European Union, all these German car manufacturers will go knocking on Angela Merkel's door, demanding that a trade deal is met with the United Kingdom. We are in the driving seat. You're absolutely right. Fantastic point, Susie Sabot. And if you've got anything else to add to that, send me a tweet on Twitter at @Bill_predict. That's at @Bill_predict. Matthew Hems, frankly, I don't care which campaign fronts it and gets the campaign money. Can you explain the differences? Absolutely, Matthew. Great point. We'll talk about that a little later on. In fact, remind me to talk about it. If I forget, Matthew, then do let me know, because we will talk about that. We will talk about all the differences between the campaigns. That was going back to what I was speaking about with Matthew Hems. If you're just coming into the room, welcome. We're just talking about a topic that I was speaking to Matthew about a moment ago regarding the spat between all the different Leave European Union referendum campaigners. Obviously, Grassroots out is one of them, so is Leave.eu. So it's Better Off out as well. That's what we were talking about. But what Matthew is basically saying is he doesn't care which campaign front sits and gets the campaign money. He doesn't care. He just wants there to be a nice, mature campaign. At least that's what I'm getting from what you're writing, Matthew. And the Commonwealth, which we ditched to the EU, absolutely, we want to get that back as well. But discriminatory, isn't it? Those in the Commonwealth are discriminated against. Those that live in the European Union. It's as simple as that. And that is the problem. That is the problem. Yes, please. You can tell this is live, can't you, Matthew? Because we're having a conversation. So if anybody tries to say that this is recorded, then you can back me up. Anyway, guys, we're going to be going straight on to the next topic. Boris Johnson. Now, yesterday, it was discussed, it was speculated Boris Johnson was going to join the Leave campaign. It's constantly been speculated. It's constantly been queried. Everybody has been wondering. In fact, I think for the last 3 months, we've not been talking about David Cameron. I mean, who cares about David Cameron? I mean, I do. Aside from what he believes in with regards to the European Union, he's got some okay ideas. But let's not talk about that, because we're talking about the EU. And on the EU, David Cameron's got it absolutely wrong. Michael Gove and Boris Johnson seem to have their conservative heads screwed on. And I think they always have. And that's why we're talking about Boris Johnson, because Boris Johnson has been in the news constantly over the last 24 hours. And it all started off with Robert Peston, the ex-economics editor on the BBC, who's now the political editor for ITV, basically saying that Boris Johnson is going to lead the campaign, or he's going to join the campaign to lead Britain out of the European Union. And it's been revealed today. It was revealed on the BBC News. It was revealed that Boris Johnson is going to campaign to leave the European Union. He thinks that the UK is better being out of the EU rather than remaining in. And if you look on the BBC website, you will notice that only 9 minutes ago it was updated. It's constantly being updated, as I said. Boris Johnson is being obsessed about. I mean, we're talking about it right now, so we can't exactly complain, can we? But that is the big talking topic, Boris Johnson. Now, what do you think? Let me know, okay? Let me know what you think. It's great to see more comments coming in. And this is why it's important to keep shifting the talk and the conversation, because we've got Alison commenting, we've got Mitch coming in. Thank you very much, Mitch, for commenting. And it's interesting what you say there. It would be crazy if you turned around and campaigned to say in the EU. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, because what you're saying, Mitch, is correct. Because if he did turn around, because he could, let's bear in mind that at the moment, you know, or should I say, until a while ago, we didn't really have a clue whether he was going to join or not, whether he was going to decide to leave, whether he was to stay. You know, speculation. That's what the BBC said. Anyway, I think they said it was intended, like, to exaggerate times. We were just anticipating it. But he has announced outside his home that he is going to leave the European Union, and that is on the BBC website. He views. If you look, not the views. If you look at the reports, if you look at the photographers. Do it now and let me know what you think on that matter, actually. And I'll read out your comments as well. But type into your Google search engine, Boris Johnson. The first result will be from the BBC News. What you will notice is immediately a ton of... I mean, he makes up 10% of the photo. The photographer, word, 80%. And this is precisely the point. This was the speculation. This was people that this was before anybody even knew. Look at the photographers outside of his home in North London. The speculation was so intense that people were obsessed with Boris Johnson. Now, I'm chuffed as well. Alison, that Boris is on board, because if that's what he's managed to do, if he's managed to captivate the media in an almost Donald Trump-like way, then think how that is going to have a positive impact on the European Union. Now, let's read out some of your comments. Mitch Edwards, obviously we've mentioned that. It'd be crazy to if he turned around and campaigned to stay in the European Union. Alison Welch, well chuffed. Boris is on board. Carl Wigan. Boris Johnson, great. I just do not see how anyone can be before Nigel Farage to lead. He's always right. His past predictions cannot be challenged. Everyone is afraid of Nigel. Great points there, Carl. Great points indeed. And I've been thinking about this quite a lot. And let's start that as a sub-conversation, actually, Carl. That's a great starting point. And I want you to comment. Let me know what you think. You know, send me a tweet at Bill_predict, or just comment in this server, actually. You know, it'd be great to know what you think. But what do you think that Nigel Farage is the one that should be leading the campaign to leave the European Union? I'm a little bit questionable, if I'm honest with you, Carl. And I say that with some emotion, really, if I'm honest with you. As much as I like Nigel Farage, I've got to say I don't think he's going to be the one that should lead the campaign to leave. And I say that because Absolutely, Matthew. I say that because he's Marmite. You're absolutely right, Matthew. That's the problem. You know, I'm sure that everyone in this room loves Nigel Farage. I do. You know, I think, and going back to what I was saying a moment ago, you know, he has turned his. It's been hard for him, you know, because he's never been a controversial character. I don't think he's ever said anything that I've strongly disagreed with. But it's too Marmite, you know, and we need someone that's going to be able to campaign in a very standardized intellectual manner. And what I mean when I say that is someone that can talk intelligently, like Nigel Farage, but someone who can say it in a way that sounds different. And the only way that can be done is by having something fresh, by involving something fresh as a part of the campaign. Nigel Farage, I'd love him to head it up. He's got great charisma. But personally, at the moment, and this is the tricky thing, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, because it depends. It really does. It's a tricky one, because I think Michael Gove would be the best person to actually do the debate. But if Michael Gove is going to do the debates, I mean, type up Michael Gove. There's a headline in the Daily Mail where he was caught going to Boris Johnson's house, supposedly. You've only got to look at his reaction to the cameras to realise that he isn't photogenic. He's not comfortable in front of the cameras. And as much as I'm a great person, people don't like him. When he's in front of a camera, people dislike Michael Gove. However, at the moment, I think Michael Gove, but I tell you what, he's going to need 300 spin doctors around him 24/7 up till the 23rd of June if he's got any hope in being able to take part. More to the point, let's look at Michael Gove and remember that actually he's a friend of David Cameron's. It would take a lot of guts. It would probably destroy their friendship if Michael Gove stood up on a podium against David Cameron to debate the EU. And more to the point, going back to what I believe this was this Carl? I think it may have been you, Carl. I'm not quite sure. Let me know. But going back to what I think you were saying a moment ago, is Nigel Farage won't be able to have a debate because David Cameron will refuse to do that. Someone that's going to pay attention, and Boris Johnson, let's face it, he's not got the charisma. He's a funny guy, but he's not approach that you need. You know, Nigel Farage has got that charisma. Nigel Farage has got that sort of tang to him. So it's going to be tricky to find that. It's going to be very tricky to identify somebody, find somebody to basically, you know, be a Nigel Farage. You're absolutely right. Ian Duncan Smith, and it pains me to say it, Matthew. It pains me to say it, but you know, Ian Duncan Smith, Eva, you know, they are hated by quite a lot of people. There's nothing to hate them for, I don't think, because they do very good. They're doing very important jobs. But you're right. You can't have someone that's politically hated. They need to unite everybody. This is exactly why we are supporting Grassroots Out. Why I'm supporting Grassroots Out. So it's going to be tricky. Who's part of Grassroots Out isn't really. He's not really a man of the people, is he? You know, I mean, he's sort of an ordinary bloke, but he's not got the charisma again. And this is the problem with politics, because we do look at charisma. Charisma is what's going to win it at the end of the day, whether we like it or not. And absolutely, as you say, see, I quite like Kate Hoey. I really like Kate Hoey. It's funny you mentioned that about Labour. Kate Hoey is one of my favourites. If everyone in Labour were Kate Hoey, I'd be a Labour voter. I really would, and that might lose me some views. But if everybody in the Labour Party was similar to Kate Hoey, I would vote for Labour. In fact, the Conservative Party probably wouldn't exist. But because Labour are so stupid, there's not a hope in hell's chance of me ever voting for them. He is a clown. You're absolutely right. Boris is actually. Thanks for that comment there. And this is what I was reading in an article Michael Gove is going to get the political establishment on board. Boris Johnson is going to get the people on board because he's funny, you know, he's down to earth, he's a great laugh, you know, and he is someone of the people. You're right. He may have gone to Oxford, he may have gone to private school, he may have been part of the Oxford Burlington Club, but you know what? He's not afraid of that. He's not afraid to admit that. He knows he's posh, and he laughs about it. And that's what we need. So Boris Johnson is going to round up the people. Michael Gove is going to round up the political establishment. But what we need in between that is somebody else that's going to be able to come in and glue Michael Gove and Boris Johnson together, get the bigger, wider population to vote for leaving the European Union. That's voting no to staying in, by the way. Because we're voting yes for independence or no for independence, we're voting on yes to stay in or no to stay in. So they need to be able to relate to someone that's like them. And a lot of people don't relate to Nigel Farage, as much as that pains me to say. Not a lot of people do, because they see him as a controversial figure, and that's not his fault. That's the political establishment, such as the BBC, News. So this is the problem. This is the wider problem that we've got. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I'm going to read out a few more of your comments, because this is quite an interesting point you make. Let me know whether they've declared whether they want to leave the European Union, support out or support in. Let me know. I want to know what you think. Send me a tweet at Bill_predict, or comment on this chat software right now in the chat section. Let me know who would be a good person to head the Leave campaign. I think Theresa May would have been a good option, but unfortunately she's not part of the Leave campaign. Although I've got to say, I'm not going to hold my breath on that. I'm a little bit unsure with Theresa. She's been a lifelong Eurosceptic, and I don't buy what she's done. That one again in the last section of this program. But let me know what you think right now. Tell me what you think. Who do you think will be a great person to lead the campaign? Be interesting to know, and I'll read them out. Let's read some of your comments, though. Ashley Ellis, here's a comment. I do apologise. I'm repeating myself. I do apologise. I'm repeating myself. Susie Sabu, the media hate Nigel because he's a threat to the political elites. You're absolutely right, and in a way, there's a bit of a problem here. We need someone in this instance, because we're all getting together, because we're all uniting, because we're either all going to be on one side or the other. We do sort of need such a figure, but someone who can connect with the people. Alan Johnson, for example. Oh, sorry, I think I just need to sneeze. I think I get an allergic reaction every time I mention that name, because I don't agree with anything he says. But let's forget about that. Let's forget about whether I agree with Alan Johnson or not. He's part of the political establishment. He's been in the media with regards to politics for a long time. He's a big beast, just like David Blunkett. But he's also sort of a man of the Boris. So we need someone that's in the establishment, but someone that's a man of the people. So would we say the man of the people establishment, perhaps? Is that what we need? Someone in the middle? Let me know what you think. It's great to see your comments. I'm going to read a few more of your tweets out, because we've got some more coming in. We've got a camp that's liked a tweet from me. We've commented on a tweet that said a tweet and they've liked it. I'm not quite sure, but someone said listeners should seek out Brexit the movie on Kickstarter and donate. That's what somebody has said, but I don't know who that is that said that. Oh, here we go. I've just found it. It's from James Goad. It's from Goad James. For your tweets, James, it's great to have you on board. You're saying listeners should seek out Brexit the movie on Kickstarter and donate. Martin Duncan's film will go far in swaying undecideds. You heard it here first. Maybe that's a bit of a free shout out, but who cares? Anything to support leaving the European Union. You heard it here first. James Goad is saying listeners should purchase Brexit the movie on Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a crowdfunding online website. So basically, people can start something up and generate money. to start up their projects. Thank you, James, for your tweet. You also say that received the European pro-EU newspaper through the door. All their 6 key facts can be rebutted. Interesting. James, I'd be interested to know, can you let us know, because that'd be a great topic to end on. Can you let us know what one of those 6 points or 6 key facts are? Because I'm sure our listeners would be really interested in knowing what that is. Let me know. Interesting. I'd like to find out more about that. Thank you for your follow, by the way, as well, James Goad. I will return the favour right now just to prove to you that it's live. There we go. You now know it's live, James. You now know it's live. I'm struggling to get my words out. It's because I've been on the air for an hour, and it's quite tantalising, really, to think that we've had quite a steady hold in viewerage. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you for staying on. Thank you for giving up, 5% of your Sunday, or maybe 3 or 4% of your Sunday, listening to me. I mean, can you believe it? We're 10 minutes away from the end of the show. I've been talking to you lovely people now for the last hour, and can I just say that you are lovely people, because you've supported me right from the start with my campaign to support a European referendum, to my campaign, to get Nigel Farage on UKIP and UKIP onto the Question Time special episode. You've been there from the start, and I'm grateful that you've come back after my 5-month absence, after my hiatus, I think it would be more appropriate to say. But I am going to be updating people constantly. This recording is going to be available after the show, so hopefully more people will listen afterwards, and hopefully it will grow, because I have been away for 5 months, and of course it is going to take time for people to come start listening, but hopefully, just hopefully, there are going to be more people listening. There are going to be more people paying attention. But let's go on to the last topic now. Let's go on to the last topic and talk about another interesting area. We're gonna go through the 6 people, or should I say 7 now? 7 people that have left or chosen to leave the European Union, have chosen to support leaving the European Union. Now, who are those people? I'm going to read those out to you. John Whittingdale, the Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport, consistent rebel. A consistent rebel when he was an MP. When he was just an MP. He got promoted during the May general election, or should I say just after. Priti Patel. She's got some pretty amazing views. I hope you like that. Priti Patel, she is the Employment Minister. She's the only one that isn't a secretary from Boris Johnson, who also is part of the campaign now. Chris Grayling, the leader of the House. We've got Ian Duncan Smith, the Minister for Work and Pensions, the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions. Michael Gove and Theresa Villiers, the Minister for Northern Ireland. The Fantastic Six have just become the Fantastic Seven, though, because of course we've now got Boris Johnson on board. So out of those 7 figures, based on what we were talking about just a moment ago, what do you think? Who do you think is most suitable to remain as leader, to remain as the leader, to become the leader of the Staying Out campaign? Let me know what you think. Ian Duncan Smith, Michael Gove, Theresa Villiers, John Whittingdale, Priti Patel, Chris Grayling, or Boris Johnson. It's sounding like quite a nice group, isn't it, if you ask me? It is sounding like a cake, a Victoria sponge with icing on the top, which you then discover also has strawberries on top, with a pure homemade jam soft centre. Oh yes, that is exactly what this is sounding like, because this is the last thing I wanted to go on to. This is the last topic I wanted to talk to you about. people cannot accuse those that want to leave the European Union of being old phonies and racists. Because the typical, let's face it, as much as I like Chris Grayling, Ian Duncan Smith, John Whittindow, and even potentially Michael Gove, although Michael Gove doesn't quite fit the character, those three people, Chris Grayling and John Whittindow in particular, are your typical Eurosceptic MPs. You know, they're your typical stereotypical, oh, he's a Eurosceptic, he is. Oh, yeah, he's a Eurosceptic, John Whittindow is. He's your typical Eurosceptic. But Priti Patel, Theresa Villiers, and Michael Gove, and more to the point, Boris Johnson, because let's face it, Boris Johnson's father, Joe Johnson, is in favour of the European Union. And we, to a certain extent, believe that Boris Johnson would campaign to stay in. So now no longer have we got this old fogies club full of grumpy, angry Eurosceptics that want their country back. What we've got now is variety. Theresa Villiers, Priti Patel, really important in leading the campaign for Britain to leave the European Union. Anyway, let's look at some more tweets if we've got any. Have we got any more tweets? Have we got any more notifications? The conversation has slightly gone quiet, which is quite interesting. But let me know what you think. Don't leave me to talk on my own. Do you really want me to be talking on my own? Oh dear. Billy no, mate. So I don't want to be on my own. Let's get the conversation up and running again. So Carl Wigan saying he's so controversial doesn't stop his followers on Facebook. You're referring to Nigel Farage there. Twitter, etc. growing daily. The thing about Kate Hoey, etc., is they need to read off a sheet. Nigel needs nothing. You're right. Nigel Farage does have the ability to read without an auto cue. But is that necessarily the most important thing in this referendum, in this campaign? Do you think that this is what's going to decide whether we stay or go? Or do you think, Carl, that actually somebody who does read off of a script, like Kate Hoey, might be more appropriate? Do you think she will be more suitable? I mean, I don't want to say that Kate Hoey will be the perfect candidate. I don't want to say she's going to be the best one to lead it, but I certainly like her. You know, I certainly think she's got great views on what we should do and how we should do it. Let me know what you think. I mean, I can see what you mean. I can see your point when it comes to Nigel Farage, because he is a popular character and he doesn't need to read off of a script, which is why I like him. But Kate Hoey, on the other hand, is... You're right, Kate Hoey has to read off of a script, and that could be a disadvantage. That could be a disadvantage indeed. What do the rest of the people think in the room? Let me know. Do you think that Kate Hoey is more suitable, or do you agree with what Carl's saying? Do you believe that actually someone like Nigel Farage, who can read unscripted, is going to be more beneficial to the campaign to leave the European Union? I want to know what you think. Send me a tweet at Bill_predict. It's been great to have your comments. We're going to be going for a quick break. I'm going to be back in about 3 minutes to read some of your comments, and then we're going to be closing off for the evening. And obviously, we will continue the debate on Twitter. So we're going to go for a quick break. We're going to put some music on for just a moment, and I will be back very, very soon. See you in a moment. I'll be back at the top of the hour. I will be back at the top of the hour. At 6 o'clock, I'll be back. I'm just going to get a quick snack. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. We only lost 2 viewers then, but I'm sure we'll get them back at 6 o'clock. It's coming up to 6 o'clock, and we are now back after that very short break. I have royalty-free music there. It's the cheapest I could find. I'm only joking. Only the finest for us Eurosceptics, I must admit. And I'm right. My predictions must be true indeed, because the 2 viewers that we lost during that quick break have decided to make themselves a cup of tea and come back for the last part of this discussion. We're going to be talking about the price of the European Union. And of course, I'm just going to read out a couple more tweets because we've got a few more mentions on my Twitter handle at Bill_predict. James Goad is really talented, and I must say to you, James, thank you very much indeed for your comments, and thank you very much to everybody else as well. Thank you to Susie, who also commented during the break. I'm going to talk about what you've just mentioned in just a moment, but thank you very much. Now, what I want to say to you guys is if you want this to grow, if you want this to be a success, this radio station, because that's what we're calling it. I might end up doing a live broadcast at some point. Let me show you what I can do. The thing is, I haven't got the camera in a particular position to be able to move it in any way, shape, or form. I don't think I can, but let me give you an idea of what we can do. Okay, we're going to turn on the. Let's turn on the camera. Let's turn it on. Let's have a little look. How can we turn it on? Okay, we've got it. We've got everything on. Why is it not turning on? I'm not quite sure about that. Anyway, let's see if it turns on and suddenly pop up in a minute. Okay, let's just. Okay, right, there we go. I hope you can still hear me. That's okay. It'll probably come on in a minute, in which case you get what I mean. But you get a wall, which isn't going to be very helpful, but we try and sort that out in a moment. Let's talk about what you were talking about in the break. We're going to go on to that in just a moment. But if you want this to be a success, if you want this to grow, if you want this to continue to be successful, then you need to share it with your friends. You need to tell your friends that every Wednesday at 7 o'clock in the evening and every Sunday, there is going to be a political broadcast. There is going to be a chat show supporting Grassroots out. You need to tell them that. Because if you tell them that, this is going to be a success. This is going to be something that we will have thousands of viewers tuning in each week to. So if you want this to be a success, share the link with your friends, tell them to this debate, because it's all about you. I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing this for my success. This is all about you. So be sure to let your friends, family, everybody know. And we're welcome to debate. We've had a great conversation tonight. And it's been a really big privilege to have shared my evening with you. So thank you very much. Straight to the notifications now on Twitter. James Goad, again, thank you very much. Over 3 million jobs are linked to our trade with the EU. Being in the EU means lower prices in our shops. EU benefits are worth $3,000 a year. And 4, we are safer thanks to the European arrest warrant. Sorry, I think I've just mucked this up. Yeah, because he's just pointed out to me what this is. And this is what I was talking about just before the break. I was reading James's tweet out literally. Now, what we were talking about before the break is, you know those 6 points that James Goad was talking about? James Goad was saying that there are 6 points that he got through the door, a pro-European newsletter. Quite frankly, James, I would have put it in the furnace and allowed it to warm up my hot bath. Quite frankly, that's what I would have done. In fact, I'd be tempted to contact, better, stronger, Britain Stronger in Europe, and ask them for a whole pile of leaflets and say, you know what, I really want to send these to 1,000 letterboxes. And you know what I'd do? I'll just use it to warm up the kettle, to warm up. To get the marshmallows out, start the bonfire. It'd be great for a barbecue. No, on a serious note, don't do that. That is not something you should do, because this is a mature, lively conversation. But honestly, the rubbish that these people send out, the crap, should we say, that these people tell, that these people give out to people, is absolutely astonishing. So, you know what? Shred it up. If you get anything in the post that's to do with leaving the European Union, don't chuck it in your recycle bin, because you don't want the dustbin person to see that. If he sees that, he might be a convert. He might convert to being pro-European. Shred it up and chuck it away. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Don't even chuck it in the recycle. If you don't have a shredder, chuck it in the non-recycle. And then, because we're in the EU and we have to make sure we recycle, we'll probably get fined for that. So be careful. Don't blame me if you get fined for putting your recyclable in the non-recyclable. Anyway, enough from the journal. On a bit of a light note there. Going back to the 6 points that James Goad was talking about that got sent through his newspaper letterbox. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. It's because we're coming up to the end of the show. So point number one, that this is for pro-Europeans. This is people that support staying in the European Union. This is what they're trying to convince people. Over 3 million jobs are linked to our trade with the EU. Number two, being in the EU means lower prices in our shops. Number three, EU benefits are worth £3,000 a year to the average household. Number four, we are safer thanks to the European arrest warrant. Number five, it's 200,000 UK businesses with the EU. Number six, the UK gets pounds of investment every day from EU countries. And points 2, 3, and 4 are outright, and James Goad continues to say points 2, 3, and 4 are outright lies and have been disproved. Points 1, 5, and 6 are true but interfere from the newsletter. Is that all this would end if the UK left the EU? It's totally untrue. And honestly, the viewerage count, sorry to say this to you, James, but the viewerage count went down. It's gone down considerably since I've started making points about the European Union. And it's quite interesting that's happened. And that's just goes to show how much people dislike the European Union. Our viewerage went up from 18 to like 9, and it's slowly going back up now. But yeah, that just goes to show just how much people dislike the European Union. As soon as you start talking about it, people have an allergic reaction to it. Thank you very much for that, James Goad, and I hope you found that very interesting. Those of you that were listening to that, those of you that heard those points, they are what the European Union think is a valid reason why we should stay. Going back to what somebody said earlier on at the beginning of the show, why can't we have someone that's why can't we have some leaflets sent out? Why can't we have some leaflets sent out for leaving the EU? It's not happened quite yet, but hopefully Grassroots out. We're going to finish on what Susie said. Susie, going back to what we were saying about who the best person will be to lead the campaign to leave the European Union. Susie said the best informed person is the one they should pick. Whoever is chosen won't affect the majority of people who have already made up their minds. Interesting point there, Susie, but there are a lot of people that are at the very middle, are on the very edge of either going to the left or going to the right. Not politically. What I mean is going for the EU or against the EU. And that's what we need to get across to people. We should not be scaremongering. We should be enticing people over to the Leave campaign, to the Leave camp. And the only way we will be able to leave the EU is if we get that swing. It's only a small swing. I take what you say about the majority. But look at Scotland. Look at the referendum on Scotland. It was almost 50-50. That small percentage was the swing of those that were on. It could 3 million votes for or against that we need to get in order to sort out. I think there were 35 million votes in this referendum. There's going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot more. sorry, 35 million votes in the general election. There's going to be in the referendum, and it's going to take those few million votes to swing it in our favour. Nobody can afford to sit down and just watch the EU happen. If we want to leave, we've got to tell our friends, our family, everybody. That's the only way we're going to be able to leave the European Union, because all odds are going to be against us. The political establishment and disprove the points for leaving the EU against the points for staying in. That's precisely why everybody needs to work together. And going back to what we were saying at the beginning about it being child's play, with regards to, you know, them spitting their dummy out the pram, with regards to, you know, certain politicians wanting to lead certain campaigns and others wanting to lead others. It goes back to what we were saying then. We need to be united, because if we're not, the establishment are just, you know, they're going to chew us up and spit us out, and it'll be as simple as that. However, with Boris, Michael Gove, Theresa Villiers, Ian Duncan Smith and Chris Grayling all on board, I believe that the campaign for out has only just begun and is only gonna get stronger. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening to this broadcast. We've been on the air now for an hour and 10 minutes. I was almost going to say 20 minutes. It's been so great to have you on board. Please do tell your friends this link, because people are going to be able to listen to this afterwards. You can listen to the playback of this. Share it with your friends and family, and tune in again on Wednesday when we're going to be doing another talk hour. Hopefully there's going to be more of you. I'm going to be posting an update on what is the website again? change.org. That's the one. An update on change.org. So thank you very much, everybody, and let's end again on the tension music. I will speak to you all next week, and in the meantime, please do communicate with me on Twitter. Thank you very much, Izzy. Thank you, and the conversation will continue. If you want to continue to chat with me, I will stay around in the chat box for a few minutes. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a good evening.